Taylor, how you doing this morning? Today is the 18th of September, Thursday. Almost one day away from the Friday and then the weekend, right? So here we have Gabrielle, unimpressive, if you ask me. Low level swirl. Here, this is the infrared satellite loop, of course. Higher colder cloud tops, denoted by the orange and yellows, and the system moving off the African coast here, which the National Hurricane Center has indicated this might develop in the next 7 days. But given how mundane the tropical season has been this year, I have my doubts. But anyway, we have Gabrielle here. Here's the low level swirl. Um, we can look at this another way with the mid level water vapor. And as we looked at almost every day, the deeper yellows indicate dry air surrounding it, right? And that's what we got right here. And if we go to a more zoomed in look at the system here, if you look at this, you wonder where the heck is it, right? See if we get any visible. There we go. So there it is, right there. Well-defined low-level circulation, right? But no convection associated with it. And maybe see if we get a better look at the visible red imagery. Yeah, it's a little bit better. The sun coming up on it right now. Uh, let's see if I can near infrared. Really, gives you a good idea of the structure. Really, I don't think I need to show anything else, but a good indicator of how dry the air mass is these um, black and kind of brownish colors surrounding it indicate drier air. Let's see if it has this here. Precipitable water. No, you can't do these color bars really with the uh, this kind of thing. But overall, let's look at the true color. There you go. This gives a good representation of it, right? Really kind of neat looking, isn't it? I mean, definitely has a good little over swirl, but that's about it. So anyway, moving on. National Hurricane Center is the latest outlook for it. Forecast to move to the west northwest and hope eventually to the eastern Bermuda. But interested in Bermuda should keep an eye on the system as it moves this way. So, because you never know. We can make a close pass to it, but usually if it passes to the east, chances are impacts won't be like some winds, maybe minimally, and more likely waves, depending how large the system gets and if it gets strong enough, right? So we talked about water vapor, but we also were looking at the infrared satellite loop, right? And the mid-level humidities. And this is just a simulation of the infrared satellite loop associated with this, according to the GFS. And the GFS has been pretty consistent on developing this till, I don't know, really at all, which is surprising given that normally it is really bullish on develop into the system. So hats off to the GFS if it does remain this way. It's been pretty consistent with um, keeping it weak for a long period here. So it has a good handle on the mid-level humidities as well right now, and forecast to just finally maybe get a moisture pocket around it as it recurves out to sea. Uh, Wind shear is the bane of all tropical systems, and you can see the deeper reds here, excuse me, indicating higher wind shear values just to the north of the system, right? And you have these upper level features all over the place, imparting shear on the system. And eventually you see upper level anticyclone, excuse me, developing over top of it with some equatorward outflow developing. And that's when the system um, gets going somewhat here. And the GFS wants to bring some more energy off the southeast coast. In the long term, this is October 1st, but that's a long way off, October 4th. So let's keep an eye on Gabrielle, see what happens. And the system in the tropical way out here doesn't look like it's going to do much of anything according to this model run, but we'll keep an eye on that as well. One other thing I wanted to show y'all is the satellite winds associated with this estimated satellite winds associated with the system, Gabrielle. And that's what the National Hurricane Center is using to estimate um, intensity, even though it lacks convection, right? You could see these winds from the west, from the east, north, west, and south. Although one could argue on the eastern side, not a lot of southerly winds. But anyway, uh, when I take these off, this is a microwave satellite imagery system that estimates, can determine where the convection is and helps identify, um, especially eye walls and things like that with stronger storms. Anyway, that's a representation of the circulation. You can see lacking any kind of convection. The deeper colors here, oranges, reds, would indicate more convection. Okay. If we overlay this with drier air, low to mid-level dry air. This is more the mid levels, and you see all the dry air entrained into this, so not a lot of confidence is going to do anything in the short term. As far as shear goes, there's some shear off to its east and shear off to its west and to the north. Some, but not a lot. Mid-level shear. Like I said, shear is winds moving over a system that are faster in a different direction than it's moving. So they do a situation that had low wind speeds at all levels with some upper divergence aloft. Mid-level shear appears to be an anticyclone to its east, but there's some mid-level shear right over top of it right now as well. As far as convergence at the surface, there's a fair amount of convergence there, right? But the divergence aloft is um, not very impressive right now because of the shear that's going. Has plenty of vorticity associated with it, although the vorticity is a little bit estimated to be a little bit separated from the low level swirl, but this may just be estimated and not exactly where it is. So, and if you put the track on top of it, it's the forecast, become a hurricane. There's the cone intensity, current intensity estimates. The highest intensity estimates are these are all satellite experimental. Okay, so 45 knots, 50 mile per hour. And like I said, I won't be surprised if it doesn't develop any convection by the next advisory. It may be downgraded to a depression. And if it doesn't, in about 12, 24 hours, it may be a remnant low until it could get redeveloped. But we'll just have to see. So that's the rundown on that. What I'm going to do is just overlay the um, infrared analysis from National Hurricane Center over top of this, and you can see quite disorganized right now. All right, that's all I got for this. Okay, moving on to the continental U.S. forecast here. So we have this what looks like a trough over the west coast and flow going this way. Looks like a mid-level high pressure with embedded short waves in it, and also a trough over the east coast here. So we have a flow kind of like this. It's kind of a weird flow, right? It's more like this. If we look at the mid levels, we can kind of get a understanding of this a little bit better. Interestingly enough, this is really a weird pattern we got going on. Let's reset this here. We kind of got this flow going like this, but then it's kind of back and back around, you know what I mean? And then going like this at the upper levels, mid-level flow. Deep out of the southwest here. And going like this, and also down like this. A very complex flow right now over the eastern part of the country and most of the continental U.S. for that matter. Let's take a look at the 500 millibar heights here, so we get a better visualization of it. So we have this high pressure, right, building up in here with maybe a low off the coast here. But complex flow, kind of like what we saw, right? And now if we go up to the 200 millibar, which we can't do, let's look at the 200 millibar winds. This gives us a better idea of the flow here, right? We got come out something cut the subtropical jet maybe down here. and some other flow going up this way and this way, right, and up and around, and high pressure cells embedded in here at the upper levels, but in general, very complex flow pattern here. If we go through time, this is flow at the mid levels, right? We have a cutoff low maybe off the west coast of the U.S., which is going to bring some rainfall there and kind of hang out there, and also funnel moisture from what was Mario into here like this. We're going to have another trough, maybe a cutoff low develop here. I'm going to animate this slowly. You see the progression here. High pressure builds in the middle part of the country. This low, cutoff low, hangs around the southeast for a good portion of the period here, with the high pressure building in the middle part of the country, and that cutoff low being absorbed and high pressure building across the eastern part of the U.S. This model wants to develop, and it's been showing us a tropical system at the end of the period here. So if we stop this, see where it is. Overall, high pressure over most of the U.S. towards the end of the period. So when we look at future temps issued yesterday, 6 to 10 day temperature outlook above normal for the expected across the whole country, really. 8 to 14 day temps, refresh this, issued yesterday just along the west coast. An 18-14 day period is going to be potentially cooler than normal. The rest of the nation supposed to be above. Precip 6 to 10 days out. Thankfully, in the southeast, we may get some increased precip chances 23rd through the 27th, especially on the west coast. But in the middle part of the country, below normal expected. And here's the global hazards outlook again for the next 3 weeks. And you see where the hashed areas are. That's a 20% chance. And the deeper reds is greater than 40% chance of a tropical system developing. Let's go back here to the 8 to 14 day precip outlook. And above normal, leaning above normal chance of precip in the southeast, a good portion of the western U.S., Mississippi Valley into Texas, and the northeast below normal chances, and near normal. So leaning above for the southeast and the western part of the country. What's that mean as far as temps go? I'm going to slow this down and play it forward here. These are heat indexes, right? And of course, during the day, you're going to see higher values, 90s, 80s, for a good portion of the country east of the Rockies. This is the HRRR 48 hours out. Quite warm, but cooling off quite a bit in the western U.S. for the short term, but quite hot in the 90s for a good portion of the, like I said, the country east of the Rockies. So that's 48 hours out, right? Now let's look at the precip chances. zoom this in a little bit. Friday through Friday, which is tomorrow, largest chances are here in the northern high plains and the central plains, and in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and in Florida. And through time, you can see where the highest precip chances are. New data. Oh, goody. All right. Well, step this back. Pretty much the same thing here. Not excessive amount of precip, but you see along the northwest getting into the game here, into the central U.S. The southeast remains bone dry. Bone dry. As there's heat, let's take a look where the highest heat is going to be in the same areas I showed you where the heat indexes are going to be the highest. Move through time, you see the oranges where they are in the Mississippi Valley, Lower Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley, into Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky. And the desert Southwest has been pretty cooler than normal lately. It seems like with you get towards the end of the period, cooling down the central U.S., upper Midwest, warming back up in desert Southwest and into Florida. Next, I'm going to go over the excessive rainfall outlook. We just talked about rainfall, but I'm going to go over the excessive rainfall outlook, severe weather outlook for the next 8 days, and something I hadn't done in a while, the local forecast for our area here. So, you'd be surprised how much time it takes to do editing on this stuff and get it right here. It takes quite a while. Anyway, this is the current radar. Most of your moisture is in the central part of the U.S., like we saw in the satellite loop, kind of broad, different waves embedded in this flow here, and off the southeast, the west coast of the U.S., Florida, and into the extreme southern Texas. That's about it, really. And some light showers. We just had some rain here in Warner Robins, where I live. It's already done, but it's kind of nice to see that we're really dry here. So, given that, let's look at the severe weather outlook for today. Marginal risk along to the right of this system here in the central part of the country. Mostly no tornado risk today, or low. Wind risk 5%, and a hail risk of 5%. Day 2 for tomorrow. No severe weather expected, although thunderstorms in general are expected in these green areas. Day 3, same thing. Not a lot. Not a lot expected here as far as severe weather. So when we look at excessive rainfall outlook, day 1, marginal risk in the middle part of the country where those precip is ongoing, in the desert Southwest, the western west coast of the U.S., Los Angeles. This is unusual this time of year to have this. And marginal risk get into Florida here. Kind of the same thing, but we go farther north in the California mountains. A marginal risk in the desert Southwest there, along the east coast of the Florida Peninsula, and into the upper Midwest, Lower Mississippi Valley, and a bullseye here in the central part of the U.S. for day 3. And day 4, you see the marginal risk shifts a little further to the southeast. Day 5, just a little further to the southeast, but overall, not a lot going on. And of course, we have our tropical storm Gabrielle out here, and this system out here potentially developing off the west coast of Africa, and um, this tropical disturbance possibly developing off the west coast here. So, uh, one other thing that I want to show here is the drought going on. This is overlaid with the radar, okay? But see the dark yellows and yellows, reds. Good portion of the country's in some kind of drought. Abnormally dry or approaching drought conditions, especially in the Mississippi Valley into the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast, and of course the desert Southwest, all the way west of the Rockies. Uh, Not good. Monthly drought development. It shows the different areas where drought is expected or to remain or persisting or yeah, I haven't really looked at this before, so forgive me. More droughts expected in the Ohio Valley and Mississippi Valley. So I don't know, seasonal drought, more development expected in the deep south, drought persisting in the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Drought will remain in the Northeast, and some areas the drought may end. And of course, in the western part of the U.S., it will persist. And some areas in the Northwest will um, end up getting some relief from drought conditions in the future. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you all have a good day, and God bless.